Okay, you guys should have sound now. My apologies. So we missed a whole bunch of stuff there. I'm going to keep going here, though. I apologize for that. And we'll just move on to... I'm going to hop on to the next one here, to Adobe. So let's look at Adobe. So Adobe had this this crazy candle. So this is what we would call a hammer candle. You guys should all have sound now. I apologize for that. So Adobe has this big hammer candle. Now a hammer candle is an actionable signal in this strategy. So we look for what a hammer candle is we have this body with this big long wick to the bottom. Now that wick should be at least 2 times the size of this body, which is what we have. So a hammer candle is a bullish pattern, and we look for those. Do they need to be green? No, they don't need to be green, but it gives us a higher probability that that trade works out for us, okay? So we have this hammer candle, and you can see we are still sitting inside bar on this current week. So this is the current live candle. This was last week's candle. So when we're trading, we look for the breaks of the previous candle. So that's why we have this pink line here. That is our trigger. So if we don't trigger, then we have no trade here, okay? So we are currently sitting inside bar. We are looking to go 2 down, 2 up reversal. It's a 2-2 reversal when we're talking about the strat. And our targets are just the highs of the preceding wicks. And if we were looking for a trigger to the downside, it would be the lows of the preceding wick. So currently, we are sitting inside bar. If this thing goes to the upside, that's a trade we can take. We'll move on to AMD. So AMD, same thing. We had a hammer candle. So we did go up, but we've started to come down. So this is part and parcel why I'm not the greatest swing trader, because I have a tough time staying in trades when I have these kind of reversals. So what Addicts Trade suggests is that you don't get out of this trade until you break and hold the 50% marker of this previous candle. So if I go into my Griswold Strat indicator and I go into settings and I can put on the previous line of the 50% marker. So that's that purple line. So what he says is if you close below this 50% line, then that's when you should be out of that trade. The reason I have a hard time with that is because, and it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad way to do it at all. What I'm saying for me is it's a hard thing to do because I have a tough time holding into a trade that long. You have to have some guts and some gumption to hold that thing, and I'm not the type of guy that does that. I really have to. I'm a day trader, so I like to get in and out of trades. Swings are a little bit harder for me. Not saying they don't work, they're just a little bit harder for me. So he would still be in this trade, and we would look for it to hit this target right here is what we would be looking for. And there is absolutely nothing saying that when Tuesday morning opens up, we don't go for a run on AMD and hit those targets. So just be cautious of that. If swing trading is not your thing, maybe you want to paper trade this for a bit just to see how they work. Because this stuff doesn't always work, guys. I'm not here telling you guys that it's 100% foolproof way to trade. It's not. It's a game of probabilities. And whether you're using this strategy or something else, it's always going to be probability based. It has to be, because no one knows what the next candlestick is going to be, what it's going to do. Okay, so it's always based off of probabilities. Let's move on to CVS. So CVS, here we had a 2 down green, so we were looking for it to trend back up. Now it broke and it came back. So you would obviously still be in this trade if you were swing trading. You have it for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And that's a big target to hit. I'm not saying you guys have to wait for it to hit that target, okay? If you're hitting somewhere in here, and again, this is me. This is what I'm telling you guys. I don't need you guys to sell here. You guys can wait for it to hit those targets. If you have a bunch of contracts, you can take some profit there and wait for the rest to run up to this target. But I always like to secure my profits, and for the most part, I let candlesticks stop me out. I let the target stop me out. But with swings, I have a little bit tougher time, like I said before. It's just not my greatest strength, but I still do like to have some swing trades here and there. So CVS, you should still be in this trade. If you're not, you can wait for a re-trigger of this trigger here, of this pink line, and you can jump in again on it, okay? So let's move on to GE. So GE had this 2 up that finished red. We are currently trending up. So when we had these 2 up reds, my probability, or the probability, says that we have the potential to trend back down. So that's why the trigger is there. Does that mean we're going to hit that? No. We might have a 2-2 continuation despite the color of this previous week's candle. So we'll see what happens here. You can take the continuation if you'd like, or you can look for that reversal. Either way, I'm okay with either one of those, okay? Let's move on to INTC. So INTC had that 2 down green. We're stuck on this inside bar currently. We'll see how this one plays out, but you have the option there to still get into this play if INTC has a run up. Coca-Cola has a 2 up red. We are currently sitting inside bar. We are currently green, so we can see how Coca-Cola plays out. But I think, oh yes, I had this on here because we had basically a hammer candle, and it was an outside bar. Not everybody plays outside bars. Not a lot of people talk about outside bars, but you still could have the potential for this to trend up. Okay, so this would be my trigger here if I was looking to take Coca-Cola higher based off of this hammer candle. And yes, it's red. Okay, it doesn't have to be green in order for it to be a hammer candle. Okay, it can be red in a hammer candle. The color has effect somewhat. So this candle's saying that there were buyers and the sellers took over into the end of the week or the middle of the week, wherever it was, and we'll see where the continuation is, but it still is a hammer candle or pretty close to. So I left Coca-Cola on there for the week. Hey, IBM 2 down green. We're going to look for this to trigger back to the upside despite this time frame continuity. So currently we do have red right across the board, but tomorrow, guys, if we trend up tomorrow, we have the hourly, we have the daily, we have the weekly. The only thing, we actually would have the monthly as well, because this current candle as it sits is the first day of the month. So if we trend up, we could take all 4 of these back to the upside, and we could trigger back to the upside off of that pink trigger line. That's our weekly trigger. Okay, we move on to lows. So lows, here's another example like we had in Coke. This is a hammer candle. It's a 2 down. It is red, but it is still a hammer candle. So we have full time frame continuity. We're going to look for this to trigger to the upside. And then we have target 1, like we talked about, the top of the preceding candle right there. And then your next target would be up here at 216.31 on the weekly. Okay, so that's on lows. We move on to LTHM. So LTHM 3-1 setup. You notice that gold highlight? That's part of the Griswold Strat indicator that I created. Now, I talked about it a little bit, but I think the volume was muted. So as we look at this, the Griswold Strat indicator, so it includes the time frame continuity. That's this. We've already talked about that. It includes these yellow inside bars, these white outside bars. It paints them for you guys that way. It gives you these yellow highlights for the 3-1 setups, and it gives you a blue highlight for the double inside bar setups. I'm not going to show you that, but it has it on there. It also gives you those 50% rules that we talked about. So when I go into the settings of that indicator, so it gives you the 50% rule on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly, and we can take those on and off as we choose. So currently, on this 3-1 setup on LTHM, we have trended to the downside. So we opened, we triggered, and we came back. So if you're not in this trade, that's fine. If it re-triggers, then you can jump in again, and our first target would be the trigger to go 2 down on the month. Because if we go to the monthly, our monthly, we are currently inside bar as well. There's our inside bar last month, and here's our current inside bar this month. We're looking to break out of that. So if we have a continuation to the downside, our first target is to go 2 down on the month, if that makes sense to you guys. We move on to Lyft. So Lyft had this 2 up red. We were looking for it to trend down, and it didn't, and that's fine. And I could have taken this off here, but I want to show you guys, just because the probability says we should trend down, that's not always what we're going to do. So this one trended up. So we opened, we started to come down, and then we've reversed back up now. and we had a 2-2 continuation on the week, and that's perfectly fine. So this play just isn't, that trigger isn't there anymore. So what our next trigger would be if you wanted to stay on lift and you wanted to trade, you would look for this to come back down, and there's our 50% marker, that purple line. We would look if we broke back down below that 50% mark, by midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, then you could look at a outside bar possibly on lift. Morgan Stanley, okay, we had this inside bar. We took the breaks of the high or the low, so that's where we set our trigger points. Inside bars are consolidating candle. They don't break the high or the low of the previous candle. It's a tightening range, and we look for explosions, just like we saw off of this inside bar, where we opened and we had this big break to the upside. They don't always happen. You can see we had it here, where we opened above the inside bar, broke the 50% marker of this candle, and ended up going outside bar. So they don't always happen exactly this way, but this is the setup that we look for off of those inside bars. Now, we very well could have one here off of Morgan Stanley. We opened, we triggered, and we've reversed a bit. So you can still look to get into this play. If it re-triggers today or Tuesday, you can still look to get in this play, and our target just becomes the low of this candle, the preceding wick, okay? That becomes our target, okay? That's on Morgan Stanley. Netflix, inside bar. So we look for, the breaks of the high or the low. We are currently inside bar on Netflix. So this hasn't triggered yet. There's still opportunity there to take that on a swing. Nike, hammer candle, did exactly what it was supposed to do, okay? We opened, we triggered that weekly. We've got full time frame continuity right across the board. We've hit target 1. We've hit target 2. Our next target is way up here. Do we hit that this week at 131.45? It's a tall order. Doesn't mean it won't, but that is the setup. If you took Nike on a swing play or a day trade today, it would have worked out for you, okay? NVIDIA, same thing. We had this 2 down finish green. We triggered above, okay? So we opened up above. We gapped up, but it continued to run to the upside. So again, another good swing play here on NVIDIA. You would have made some money there today. Procter & Gamble, currently sitting on an inside bar. We've got full time frame right across the board. So we're looking to break out of this inside bar here. Break of the high, break of the low. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe we just stay inside bar. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out this week. You can take either one of those trigger points off of those pink lines. PayPal, here's that hammer candle again. Okay, a big hammer candle with a big long wick. So we set our trigger at the top, and we're looking for triggers to come back to the upside. So we triggered, and now we've started to come back down. Now that 50% marker is far, far down. This is something that I would be cautious about. Again, if we trigger back to the upside, that's great. If we break this early this week, I would look for a 50% play on PayPal. We go to Rivian. Not something I show you guys very often, but it has a 2 down green, not quite a hammer candle, but we can look for this to trigger to the upside. Still sitting currently on an inside bar. So if we break, you can buy calls off of that pink line. Remember, 2, 3, 4 weeks out on these plays. Inside bar off of Shopify has not broken yet. It's an ugly hammer candle, but we can still call that a hammer candle. So we look for it to trigger at 49.45 for calls or puts at 46.17. And if you guys missed it, I think you guys did miss it because the volume wasn't on. But I do have a Discord. It's free to join, okay? That link is in the description below. There is a paid portion. It's $50 a month, or you buy 2 months, you get the 3rd month free, and it includes this Strat indicator, which on its own is $25. The membership is $50. So you get this. You get live trading bots on ticker symbols like SPY, QQQ, DIA. You get one-on-ones with me. So if you need extra help and the videos and everything else aren't doing it for you, and you want to ask some specific questions with me just one-on-one, that membership gets you that. Or you can just purchase that separately as well. There's a whole bunch of other things in there as well. And it's really fair value. You get more than what the value is. You can pay for your membership in one trade, realistically. So this is Shopify anyways, but we're looking for the break to the high or the low. Uber, had that hammer candle and we broke it, and we've hit targets already. Full time frame continuity. This one's probably a little late to jump into, for me anyways. Doesn't have to be for you guys, but for me, it's a little late to jump into on Uber, but did what it said it was going to do. We look into Walmart. Walmart had this 2-up that finished red. So we're going to look for this to trigger back to the downside, despite the time frame continuity. Again, because we were a new day, new week, new month, these are all going to be green because we are green on this candle. Tomorrow, if we end up triggering to the downside, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly are all going to be red. Okay, that's full time frame continuity for us. We'll see how Walmart plays out. XOP, 2 down green, currently sitting inside bar. We're going to look to trigger to the upside to go 2 up on the week. Time frame continuity would be in our favor. And then our first target here, second target would be the trigger to break out of the monthly. I know that because these 2 blue lines, which I put on my chart on the monthly, have this 3-1 setup, okay? So the week triggers the month. It's a domino effect. That's a list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have questions, leave them down below. You can get to me on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can join me there. Join me in the Discord. Ask questions. Ask what you need. I am here to help you guys out. There will be a daily watch list for May 1st coming out if you're watching this video live. If you're past May 1st, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, okay? You can get those daily videos. You can get the learning tool videos. When I come live, when I put out new videos, short videos, you'll get the updates, you'll get the notifications, you can watch them right away. Tell your friends. Thank you guys. Subscribe. We will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.